Putting off work or chores might seem like nothing more than poor time management, but researchers say chronic procrastination is an emotional strategy for dealing with stress, and it can lead to significant issues in other areas of people's lives. Professor Timothy Pitchell joins us now to discuss. Hi, Professor Pitchell.
Hi, Kristen.
So we're all guilty of, as the old adage goes, putting off until tomorrow what we could do today. Tell us what causes people to procrastinate.
Well, it is that emotional response. You can face a task and you have that immediate visceral, no, I don't want to do it. I'll feel more like it tomorrow. But we know that we had an intention to do it because it's in our best interest to do it now. So really it is that emotion-focused coping response of avoidance. And you have to get past that.
And how would you describe a chronic procrastinator versus an occasional procrastinator? And what are the risks that come along with chronic procrastination?
Well, it's truly the frequency. So if you establish that avoidance habit, then you become a chronic procrastinator. So if avoidance is your go-to coping strategy for your emotions, then you're going to be a chronic procrastinator, and that comes with lots of costs, including costs to health, so that we do fewer wellness behaviors, we do longer treatment delay, and of course, there's the stress that comes with it. As someone who's been doing this research for 20 years, I get emails from people from all over the world. I got one from a woman from Italy just this morning, and she describes the real suffering she's going through in terms of using avoidance as her coping strategy.
So let's go through some of the ways that what people can do to overcome procrastination. You say just get started is one.
Well, that's my go-to strategy because we know from research that if you make a little bit of progress, it fuels your well-being and your motivation. So it's priming the pump. How can you get going? I don't really like writing letters of reference because they're very high stakes for the person. I have to do some careful research. I need to be balanced in my approach. So when I face them, I think, oh, I don't want to do that. But I say to myself, if I was going to do that, even though I don't feel like it, what would be the first thing I'd have to do? Well, I'd have to open up a blank piece of letterhead. Oh, I could do that. And then I say, okay, if I was going to write this letter, what would be the next thing I'd have to do? I'd have to put the address in the top part of it. And you can see where this is going. I just break it down to these tiny little steps that I know I can do. I don't think about writing the whole letter. In fact, I say to myself, I'm not going to. But I get started. And once I get started, it changes my whole perception of the task and myself. So just getting started is a big mantra for me.
Okay, just getting started, and then it sounds like, as you alluded to, breaking maybe some long-term goals into sub-goals, right?
Well, definitely, because if we think of things concretely, research shows us they belong to the present. They have a sense of urgency to them. If we think about it as a big thing, it belongs to the future. So make it concrete and make it your next actionable step. Break it down.
And can you explain what micro costs are?
Well, so much of the time we put all of the emphasis on the individual's willpower, but the environment is so important. The environment can afford us things that help us, or it can get in the way. So if you can put costs for procrastinating and the opposite, make it easier to not procrastinate, you're more likely to succeed. So, there's the old story of someone who wants to get out of bed when the alarm goes off, but they keep hitting the snooze button. So the key thing there is put the alarm clock on the other side of the room. So now there's a micro cost, or some people would say it's a very big cost, for getting up to hit the snooze button. And there's so many ways you can do this in your life. Try to make it more difficult to do the things that come easily to you, like checking your email or messaging, because that just interrupts your whole day.
And finally, what about rewarding ourselves? Should we be doing that at all?
Absolutely. So let's say I'm back at my desk and I'm working on that letter of reference. And so I've started it now, and I've written a couple paragraphs, and I realize I'm doing it, and I'm still having a visceral reaction to it. There's no magic bullet here. I'm still struggling. So I said to myself, if I can write one more paragraph, then I can take a 10-minute break, but I'll come back to it. So we need to reward ourselves. And there's lots of clever ways people do that. I know of one podcast listener that actually set up a jar full of rewards. And so not only would she reward herself, but there'd be a random nature to it. Everything from have a chocolate bar to buy a big screen TV. So anything could be in that jar. So yes, rewards can be very important.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, Tim.